RPW here, everybody. This is Talk Dragon Tuesday. If you're new to my channel, this is where you can find all the most recent information and news for War Dragons every Tuesday here on my channel, as well as having a chance to enter for a win on a $20 in-game pack, which we'll go over more in the show in detail a little bit later. Now, this week, of course, is January 22nd, which means Skoll and Hati will be released this week. So we're going to talk a lot about them today. That is going to be the main focal point, because I think there's a lot of people that are really discrediting this dragon, and that's because of its spell set without actually seeing some of the key details that could make this dragon amazing. So we're going to talk about this, and I'm going to tell you why I plan to get this dragon. So I'm pretty excited. If you guys are still a little iffy after the video, then be sure to stick around, because as soon as I get it, I will be going live, and we're going to be taking this dragon out for a flight. It probably won't be high level, because I'm only at about 3,000 sigils at the moment, but you know, once I get this dragon going, we can even bring back a secondary review at a higher level. But guys, I really think this dragon is being pushed to the side a little too quickly, and we'll go over that in a little bit as to why. But before we get started, I just want to remind everyone, if you are new to my channel, welcome. We appreciate having you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And then, of course, if you hit that little bell, you will be notified every time we post a new video. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the Winter Joel season. Now, the Winter Joel season has started out as a Vikings theme, which, if you know anything about the gods and the goddesses of Vikings era, which is the Norse gods, then you know it's a lot like any of the ones that are based off celestial beliefs and so forth. So one of the things I noticed about, which you'll see in a little bit, is that Skoll and Hati are like a celestial style dragon, which is right up my aisle. If you don't know, which most of you probably do not, I am so into astrology and tarot and all those magical things. So for me, this really hits home. And for that reason alone, I have to have this dragon in my collection. Even if it was low level, this dragon just has to be in my collection. Now, so far, I do have Hildur, and Hildur is a great dragon, not the best of the season, but she does make a wonderful dragon if you need an autopilot dragon. Like during this last event, during the PvP, during the PvEs, I should say, I would run two of my accounts at once, my alt and my main, and I would use either a quester or Hildur, and I was able to knock out those islands a lot faster thanks to the autopilot and them being low level. So for me, the autopilot dragon comes in as an amazing asset to me personally, especially as a leader, as somebody that makes YouTube videos or whatever. It really allows me to multitask. I can almost back someone without having to touch the screen while I wash dishes or I cook or whatever else it might be. So let's not discredit those with the little guardians on the front. To me, they have been a lifesaver when I don't have the time. Now, of course, we've already gone over all of the first branch. We've gone over the rider that they released in the middle of the season. And then last week, we went over the last branch that they released over the course of last week. I think it was last week, right? Maybe it was the week before. I can't even remember anymore. But this week is all about the newest, the greatest, the latest dragon of the season, and of course the last, and that is Skoll and Hati. And as you can tell, they do really have this amazing celestial feel, but don't forget the fact that they are supposed to have this, you know, Norse god feel to them too. In fact, I loved the lore so much that I would like to go ahead and read this to you. From the day they learned to fly, Skoll and Hati soared in commune. The siblings seek each other's rise to devour the sun and the moon. Should these sibling drakes succeed, your world and mine will perish. To the void they will recede, and all the things we love and cherish. I hope we shall live our lives of love, but I fear only time will tell. The sun and moon yet remain above, without their fabled death knell. This poem was written by Frigid Narrows, which I'm guessing works at War Dragons. I'm not 100% certain. But, guys, this dragon actually makes me think of the battle between the sun and the moon within astrology. So, you know, like when Aries is being taken over, I don't know. I just love this dragon. It's so beautiful. right, so let's go ahead and jump into what its actual spells are if you don't already know. So yes, it is a legendary wind hunter, and it comes with a 4-spell set. That's the Moon Shroud, which is white, Solar Valley, which is white, the Soul Devourer, which is blue, and Starburn. Now this dragon does not come with a resist, and at first that kind of freaked me out a little bit, but a friend explained to me that a hunter, as long as it's flown right and it has the right spell set, they don't necessarily need to resist. Now keep in mind that this dragon does not have a resist, but it also doesn't have any way to, you know, evade attacks or block anything outside of elemental attacks. But you got to think, if this thing has the Moon Shroud, which is a lot like, which is basically an elemental bubble, you've got to realize that you actually technically during that time have an all around 100% elemental resist. So keep that in mind when it comes to the resist side. We'll go over Starburn a little bit more in the end. Alright, so Moon Shroud is going to be an active white 1 rage spell. Upon activation, the dragon spawns a shrouded shield that blocks all incoming elemental damage and heals on the damage blocked up to 10% of the dragon's maximum HP. Now the spell set has a 3-second duration and an 8.5-second cooldown. Yes, that's a pretty decent sized cooldown and a pretty short duration, but that's pretty much average for any of those. So I don't see any issues with the, you know, the length in between or of. So Moon Shroud is basically just like Axie or Necrix, has the elemental bubble that we all love. As for Solar Volley, now this is going to be an active white no rage spell, and while this is active, the dragon will deal 6% of its max HP as damage to all the towers in a range. Now that's not where this is a kicker. The reason that this is a great spell is because the dragon's ammo cost is reduced by 99%, which basically means 0. Now the dragon's fireball attack will deal 70% reduced damage, however, and it has a 3.5-second duration and an 8-second cooldown. Now the reason that this doesn't sound so great is because it is only 3.5 seconds long, and it does have an 8-second cooldown, but we're going to go over why you should not quite discredit this specific spell later on. Because guys, don't you think that this could be an amazing spell if you're, you know, one of me, you know, just like me, you tend to run out of ammo if it could last longer? Wonder what I'm trying to get at here. All right, let's go ahead and jump into Soul Devourer. Now, this is a pretty familiar spell to some of you. This is actually on some of the regular dragons. With this one, it's going to place a buff on the dragon for a 5-second duration while the spell is active. Now, this dragon will regain 25% of its max HP, and it will get a 3/4 of a rage bar whenever a tower is destroyed. So if you destroy several towers while it is, you know, in there while it's activated, you're going to be able to get up to almost 5 rage bars if you can kill 5 within that time frame. So it can regain its rage back. It's not a quick regain, you know, regeneration or whatever of rage, but it is able to bring back its rage. So that is a pretty decent one. It's not the one I would have put on this specific dragon, but they explain to us why they've done this, and we'll go over that as we get further along. But first, let's go ahead and go through the Starburn, which is a passive yellow spell. Now, when the dragon's HP is lower than 75%, the attacks will leave burn marks on targets that increases damage dealt by 40%. Now, if you would imagine Leos, if you were around during the time that Leos was released, when Leos gets down to like 25%, his total damage increases during that time frame. So it's kind of like that, except you're going to find this increased damage on those burn marks. So whenever you go to attack specific castles, you're going to want to hit those burn marks because they're going to have a 40% increased damage. I don't know if this is going to double up with the other spells or not. I don't think so, but I mean, we can only find out later. That is one of my questions is, like, let's say you've already got the burn marks, you bring up the other spells, you get some health back or whatever, you're above 75%. I mean, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, I just wonder if there will be a way to work these together. I don't think so, but we will soon find out. Now, the reason that this specific dragon has impressed me is not the spell set necessarily. It's one particular spell that is the Solar Volley, and it's not impressive by itself, but whenever you put it with the runes and glyphs that you can get with this dragon, it really begins to shine. So let's go ahead and go through the different runes and glyphs that this dragon will come with. Of course, there's the epic Rune of the Sun, the legendary Rune of the Sun, and the mythic glyph of the Sun and Hunter attack. Now, in order to get all these, you do have to work your way up the branch. You will have to pass gold, so this won't be useful to you if you don't get this dragon to a certain point. But the epic Rune of Sun is going to increase the solar valley duration, and that is a big kicker, guys. So for just the epic alone, the first time you get this and you put it on, it's going to increase it by 0.1 seconds. The first upgrade by 0.233, the second upgrade by 0.367, and then once you do the very last one, it's going to add another half a second. So guys, add that together, you are getting a little more than 1 second duration added to your spell just with the epic rune. All right, so what about the legendary? Legendary rune, it's going to also increase this. So with this one, you're going to get a half, a 0.625, a 0.75, a 0.875, and a 1 second duration add-on. So we already know that we're getting a little more than 1 on the epic. Now in the legendary, if you count there, you're looking at over 3 more seconds being added to the solar volley. Now guys, that is pretty impressive considering what the solar volley can do. So now we're looking at, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds added onto the original 3.5 seconds that the spell has. Now what about the mythic? Now the mythic is going to give us quite a bit. It's going to have 1 extra during the base amount, you just put it on there, and the others are all going to follow in suit as well. So every single time you upgrade this, which you're going to be able to have the base, the first upgrade, the second grade, all the way up to the max, is going to add you another 6 seconds. So you're looking at another little over 10 seconds being added onto that base amount of, let me double check, a 3.5 seconds. So your solar valley in the end is going to be a lot longer duration than you realize. On top of that, guys, you also are going to be able to get the hunter attack increasing with this as well. So just like any of the other, you know, hunter attack glyphs, this is going to give you an increased amount of oomph to your attack. Which, I mean, I don't ever see like a massive difference on these upper dragons with this, but it does make a difference. I'm sure if I took it off, I'd be like, no, like this is much harder. So with that being said, guys, if you think about what it is giving you when it comes to the rune and glyph end, this dragon is far more superior than you realize. So keep that in mind, guys. If you didn't want this dragon because of the spell set, you need to look at the runes. Now that we've looked at the runes, let's go ahead and go back and jump into the solar volley and look at this a little bit more. Now remind you, this is a white 0 rage spell. You do not need rage for this spell. Then you add in all those glyphs, which, if you can tell here, it's going to reduce your amount of attack by 70%, but you're going to have unlimited ammo for 3.5 seconds. Add on those runes, you're looking at around 14 seconds of runtime with this spell on, with only an 8-second cooldown. So, I mean, it's runtime is going to be almost, actually, the runtime is going to be, yeah, almost double what its cooldown is. So this will be a much better, I think, spell than we all, you know, originally thought. Now, I don't know, guys, I could be wrong. Once I get this dragon, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and go live with him, and I'm going to do some attacks with him, but I don't know how he's going to do, you know, realistically until I get that mythic glyph. So I'll make sure that as I, you know, find, you know, more and more about him and get more used to him, I might jump in live here and there and we'll go over him. So you can decide whether you want to go for this dragon or not, because we're only a little over halfway through the season. So you guys have plenty of time to gather up those sigils. And if you were still trying to figure it out or thinking maybe I do want him now, then I will try my best to get some videos up for you guys so that you guys can decide whether you want him for yourself or not. I almost forgot to mention one of the things I want to talk about is that they really wanted to embody a multi-tap strategy for this specific hunter. So, you know, one of the reasons that they put the spell set together for this hunter is so that you would have the multi-tap option. It's not going to have, you know, the lockdown on everything else, but it is going to allow you to attack 3 or more towers at once by tapping on the screen with multiple fingers. Now, normally when you do this, you know, it would deplete the dragon's ammo. But with the spell, which we went over, can be like 13, 14 seconds long, is going to give it a ability to have an increased amount of ammo. However, yes, guys, it is going to decrease your total attack. But think about that. I mean, as you use that ammo, it decreases in its oomph anyways. So keep that in mind. Now, you're going to have to be very careful and make sure that you target things like the mage towers, because, you know, it does show that the mage towers itself, which are rage draining, is going to be a challenge with this dragon because it doesn't have a lot of rage regeneration to it. So you're going to have to learn how to utilize these spells together so that you can best use this dragon. Which brings me to my challenge for you, all of you hunter connoisseurs out there. If you love hunters and you're like completely avid on hunters in general, then you shouldn't be afraid of this dragon. This dragon is going to challenge you and make you try something different. It's not going to be your normal, you know, regular style put together, you know, cloak, etc., etc. It is going to be something different. However, guys, I think this dragon is going to be great. It may not be a setup dragon, it may be a follow-up dragon, but do not discredit this. And I challenge you. I challenge you to get this hunter and show us what you can do with it, because it is something different. Don't just bow down and say, oh no, this hunter is going to suck because he doesn't have one specific spell that we always have to have on a hunter. No. Let's see what we can do with this bad boy. I know there's going to be somebody out there that's going to get this dragon, that's going to do some amazing things with it, and they're going to post a video, and we're all going to be like, holy crap. In fact, if you do get this dragon, and you do some awesome flights with it, or funny flights or whatever, send me the video clips in line, and I will actually feature you flying here on my upcoming new series coming very soon called Featured Flyers, where you will catch my reaction of others' videos flying or whatever. Anyways, guys, so that is the big concept on this dragon, is they wanted to give us something a little more challenging, a little different. So don't let this, you know, just prevent you from getting this dragon. And man up, get the dragon and see what you can do with it. Send me the video so that we can show all of everyone else here on my channel, because I think this dragon is going to be a lot better than what we realize. All right, so of course, we've gone over the beautiful dragon Skoll and Hati. So let's go over the, you know, details that you need to know in order to enter into this week's $20 in-game pack giveaway. So I do a $20 in-game pack giveaway every week here on my channel on Talk Dragon Tuesday specifically, is where you will enter. Over the weekend, which I'm usually sometimes late, so don't take it, you know, I'm not going to give you a date or a specific time, but sometimes Saturday or Sunday, I'm going to go through and I will actually write down your names, cut them up, throw them in a bowl, and do this all live for you to be able to watch and view as I pull your name out. So whoever the lucky winner is will be sent up to War Dragons to be distributed their $20 in-game pack. Now, mind you, I do not give out the $20 in-game packs. I only choose the winner. And this is War Dragons' way of sponsoring this, you know, sponsoring their Creators Faction members. So I want to thank them for all of their support so that I could make videos like this possible for you. So what I'd like to see everybody do to be able to enter in a $20 in-game pack this week is go to the comment section below this video, scroll all the way down, and you're going to be able to comment in there as long as you are logged into your YouTube account. If you are, for example, you know, looking at this from Facebook or whatever, you may actually have to take the link, go over into your YouTube so that you can actually put a comment. Anyways, once you put a comment, you're going to include your in-game name, unless you're not comfortable with it, and you can just put contact me and I will see that your YouTube name is there. But if you don't include your in-game name and your name is drawn, you will forfeit your gift if I cannot get a hold of you, just so you know. Please keep that in mind. So if you see that you won, you don't have your in-game name in there, be sure to reach out to me. All right, with that being said, I do want to go in and explain to you what else you've got to do, which is after you put your in-game name, you're going to put this week's beautiful dragon's name up underneath, because I think this dragon, even if it's not going to end up being one of the best dragons this season or whatever, it is definitely the most beautiful concept art in my opinion. So go ahead and put Skoll and Hati underneath of your in-game name. Anyways, guys, I'm losing track of my mindset because I've got 13 things going on in my head. I literally woke up late today and just getting started on the day, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's already like 8 something and my video goes up in like 2 hours. So I haven't even been in the game yet. Like that's crazy. Usually the very first thing I do in the morning is hop in the game, check on things, get things done, And well, no, I can't do that today. We are on a time crunch. All right, coming up this week, everyone should already know, is going to be the fortification event. So the fortification event will be coming. If you do not know, anything about the fortification, you are super new to War Dragons, be sure to jump over to my event guide series. I do have a playlist called Event Guides, and you can go check out the playlist ones. You could also check out some of my tip videos where I go over some things for things like the fortification. So guys, remember, that's the one big thing I want everybody to remember when the fortification comes around. Do not build extra towers for points. Always build up, never build out. That is a very important aspect. There are people that make that mistake, including myself back in the day, which is one reason I try to reach out and help all of you. So anyways, outside of that, here on my channel, be sure that you are subscribed and you are, sign up for notifications, because we're going to be doing, like I said, a live review of this dragon on Wednesday night, so tomorrow night. But it will be a low-level review. If we can get a little further, we'll come in as soon as that comes, but it may not be another event or two. And then, of course, I've got a few others coming as well. I'm not going to tell you what they are, and I'm not going to tell you a date, because as soon as I do that, I tend to jinx myself, and I no longer want to do that. But anyways, I'm super excited to be back here with you guys. This is the 3rd week back to my channel, and I appreciate all of you guys sticking around and supporting me and letting me take the much-needed break that me and my family needed so we could spend the holidays together. All right, guys, that is it for today's video. I hope that everything I shared with you guys today is something useful to you, and that it was pretty easy to understand, or, in general, just fun to listen to. Anyways, guys, I will talk to y'all later, and don't forget to enter that contest below. Happy hunting!